Hello, everybody, and welcome back to this Star Wars expanded universe narrated by Disney or Lucasfilm. Oh, whichever way you slice it, Legends. Now, I decided to make this a dual review. I'm not gonna go super spoilerly, because I've already reviewed these books back in 2020, 2 years ago, back when I was a 19-year-old wee lad. Um, that was my first time going through the EU. I had read Kenobi and Dark Lord Rise of Darth Vader. And you can see those original reviews if you search long enough. I will also have it in the playlist just for nostalgia's sake. I think I've improved a lot with my format since then. I mean, I still need a better camera and all that, but it is what it is. However, with that, I want to get into Dark Lord Rise of Darth Vader. This was also written by James Lucenos. It is the conclusion to the unofficial Dark Lord trilogy in the same sense that it's not actually a trilogy, but it flows well together. Kind of like in the New Republic era with the Callista trilogy, which is something I've also talked about. But this is one of my rereads, kind of like Matt Wilkins is doing, pretty much moving forward up until we get to the Han Solo books. Everything I read and talk about will be brand new to me, but this small era of like right after episode 3, I'm fairly familiar with, at least when it comes to this book and Kenobi, which are the things we're discussing today. But getting to reread Dark Lord Rise of Darth Vader by James Lucenos was an absolute blast. James Lucenos proves again that he is top 5 EU writers of all time. He's so good at connecting things. He's so good at world building and explaining things. We get to see, it's a testament to the writer that we get introduced to completely new Jedi in this story, and I care about them, and I don't want to see them have harm. But of course, there's not a lot of Jedi in episode 4, so stuff must happen to them. I enjoy everything that he does with Anakin in this book by showing us, well, Darth Vader, that transitional period. This is young Darth Vader. This is, just became Darth Vader. But he has to get accustomed to, just like we do, because if you've been reading in chronological order, this has been Anakin for years, or at least months, and now he is the Dark Lord of the Sith. And so now, as he must adjust to this new format of his life. Half of his limbs are now robot, stuff that he was not previously accustomed to. He only ever had the one arm. The rest of him was all human, which, especially in Legends continuity, can't speak for Disney's, but the more robotic parts you have, the less powerful in the Force you can be, because the Force flows through all living things. So the more mechanical you are, the less power in the Force you have. So think about this. The fact that Darth Vader is still the imposing threat and as powerful he is throughout the entirety of the Star Wars universe is a testament to Anakin's strength. Because imagine what Anakin can do had he never died, or, got eviscerated in the fires of the lava of Mustafar. Like, imagine what Vader can do times like 10. That's basically what Anakin could have done had he not lost to Obi-Wan Kenobi in that fight. But there are some cool little things added in here. This is a little bit of a spoiler, but Chewbacca is in this book. Not very long and doesn't do much, but still, it's interesting to see Chewbacca at this point in time before meeting Han. The new character Shreen, the Jedi Knight, who lost 2 Padawans and doesn't want to, he just wants to run away. I thought everything with that character was really, really good. And James, in every scene between, where we get into Sidious's mind, or we get, conversations between Darth Vader and Sidious, were just so glorious and so well done. James Lucenos is such a master of his craft, and this absolutely is something you should read after watching episode 3. It works really well. It flows really well. Um, and we get to see Vader throw down a bunch, which is kind of cool. Overall, this book is well worth your time, though. I'm not going to get too much into spoilers. I talked about it before. It is definitely worth your time, though. Then we have Kenobi, which I've also reviewed. How fitting with the new Disney Plus series coming out. I don't try to be a negative Nancy, but rest assured, I won't be watching it. And I do think that this book will be better than whatever they come out with, unless they just give royalties to John Jackson Miller and do this story. Because this story would be perfect for... Sorry, I got a phone call. I was just saying that it would be perfect for a mini-series. John Jackson Miller, of course, wrote the amazing KOTOR comics within the Star Wars Expanded Universe. He also did the not-so-amazing Knight Errant book and comics. He also did a bunch of short stories for The Lost Tribe of the Sith, which you should really only read if you plan on reading Fate of the Jedi, because that has the Lost Tribe of the Sith. But anyway, he's done quite a bit in Star Wars, and I haven't read it, of course. I don't read new canon. He did the New Dawn book that was connected to Star Wars Rebels. So he's done stuff for Star Wars. But this book and how it does everything it feels like a Western. And I said that in my original review, and a lot of other people have said that. You know, you have the Tusken Raiders, they feel like the Native Americans within those kind of tales. And Obi-Wan feels like the cowboy. Though not exactly, right? Because the cowboy is a lot more gunsling and attack, and that's not what Obi-Wan is. But he is that, like, mysterious stranger who comes into town. And that's really well done. Though, here's the thing about Kenobi. And this is something I talked about with one of my favorite YouTube channels, two Star Wars nerds, on their discussions about Boba Fett with the new show, which I have not watched. But a complaint that people have made in the new show is that there are 2 episodes where Boba Fett's just not a factor, and that Boba Fett doesn't really act like himself, and that he, you know, I haven't read it. I haven't watched it, so I don't have an opinion, because I haven't just from what I've heard, you know, people have been upset with a lot of things. And to have 2 episodes in a show called Book of Boba Fett, but he's not there. Kenobi is not the main character of this book, despite the title. However, he's in the vast majority of this book, despite that. Instead, we focus on other characters. We have Oren Golt, this farmhand within this little town. We have Annalene Caldwell, nicknamed Annie. She's one of the main protagonists that we follow. We also follow a Tusken Raider, a female Tusken Raider called Ayark, who is the sister to the wife of Sharad Het. If you don't know who Sharad Het is, you need to read those Star Wars comics, later redubbed Republic, where we see Sharad Het with his son Asherad Het, who would later become a part of the Jedi Order, and then way down the line would become the Sith Lord Darth Krayt. Anyway, those are all the characters we follow. And Kenobi kind of shows up within their stories. Fairly often, though. Kenobi does a lot. But the difference is with, you know, new canon aside with the Book of Boba Fett has just gotten out of the Sarlacc pit, heals up. This is his time to shine, right? He's not hiding from anybody. He's trying to gain power and prestige or whatever. So he should be at his A game. He should be in every episode. The difference with Kenobi is this is literally like a week or 2, maybe a month at most, after episode 3, right? Jedi are still around. They're still being hunted this time. They're still being taken down by Darth Vader and other stormtroopers, as they're redubbed now. Even though we're still using clone troopers. Later on it will go to normal people transcripts, but we still have the clone troopers. They've just been redubbed. But, so, this is a dark time for the galaxy. Like, Obi-Wan has to be careful. He has to keep himself on the down low, because if not, he could jeopardize the entire mission that he's come here for, which is to protect Luke Skywalker until the time is right. And yet, he's still a Jedi Knight, and he's still Obi-Wan Kenobi, the good man that we know. So he can't just sit by and watch as oppression takes place, but there's only so much he can do as one man. However, Tatooine is quite far away from the way of the Empire, and it's a planet that a lot of people don't care about. Stuff happens with the Tusken Raiders, with the townsfolk. Kenobi gets involved. He thinks that he's not supposed to, but he can't help it. And he gets involved. And there's a lot of these nice moments. It's kind of like Shatterpoint, but not as, like, often. There are a few times where Obi-Wan Kenobi will meditate and try to talk to Qui-Gon. And that part is first person. It'll be a different, it'll be like in italics or whatever. And he'll be talking to Qui-Gon. Kind of like, when you pray to God or something. That's kind of what he's doing. He's just, because he's not getting a response, at least not one you can hear at this time. He's just talking, hoping that someone's listening. And there are some really good moments in this book. It's a very good book for Kenobi and what he's going through. The fact that Annaline's nickname is Annie. And when Obi-Wan hears that, you can feel that. You can see that within the pages of the writing. You can feel that heartbreak in his eyes. There's many conversations he has by himself or with other people that are just so good. And so, having reread this, I think I might put Kenobi in my top 10 for sheer writing quality alone. Like, this book is written expertly well. Every character that's not Kenobi, I still cared about them. I cared about Oren Gold. I was interested to see where his story went. I was interested with Annaline Caldwell and her children. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the aspects of the Tusken Raiders and getting to see things from their perspective. I enjoyed all of that. So even if Kenobi wasn't in this book, I still think I'd have a good time. Of course, having Kenobi in it adds to it, because we have the aftermath of Revenge of the Sith, so getting to see him with his turmoil and his pain that he's dealing with, that's nice to see. But John Jackson Miller writes compelling characters regardless. And that's what you want to do. And that's why I'm saying this would be perfect for a miniseries. Because then, it's not all about Kenobi. Like, yeah, I'm sure that's what you want in a title called Kenobi. But this is where you give a chance that you can really, like, instead of just focusing on the flashy Star Wars stuff, because you can't do that. We're in the middle of the dark times. Like, you shouldn't be doing that. But what you can do is you can have a very character-driven, story. I mean, there's still action in it. But, like, you can have new actresses and actors up and coming in this show, right? In this hypothetical show. Because there's a bunch of new characters who won't be seen after the show, except for maybe a cameo. And, like, literally saying hello, bye. But, they get their little story here. And that'd be a good moment to bring in fresh and coming talent and stuff. Kind of like George Lucas did by hiring the people that he did, because they weren't big and famous back then. Like, Mark Hamill wasn't a thing before Star Wars. And then he became Luke Skywalker and became the greatest Joker to ever grace our presence on screen. Harrison Ford was the only one who already kind of had stuff. You can see within the pages how it could work as like an 8-episode series. You could see it. You can feel that, or even a shorter series, doesn't matter. The point is, it would have worked expertly well, but the writing, the character development, everything about this book is just well worth your time. It is such a phenomenal read, and it sucks to see what we have to see of Obi-Wan, and to see how sad our boy is. But, of course, he's Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he will get through it. But that's pretty much it, guys. From here on out, until we get to the first Han Solo book, I will be blind as to what's going on. But up next, I have a bunch of comics for you, starting with the Purge comics, and a webcomic focusing on characters that we have seen before. But we'll get on to that next time. Until then, guys, may the Force be with you. And whether you enjoy new canon or not, we can all agree that Kenobi is a phenomenal character. Till next time, guys.